So we are here in Las Palmas and just having a regular day of getting on with jobs. I'm just making some granola in a pan, and Lars is trying to think up our new kicker setup because we have managed to break the vang again, which apparently is something that is quite common. Yeah, we're just looking into that again and seeing how we can re-rig everything.
I don't know if I want you to film this.
You're embarrassed?
Well, not. Yeah, a little bit actually.
Did it happen again?
Yeah.
But why did it happen again?
Partly because I don't have the good reflexes when it comes to a vang to, you know, properly let it off every time I let the sail out or every time we take a reef. And then because of that, it was put under loads that it, you know, is not meant to be put under. I think particularly if we run it downwind and put it out, you know, and also the fact that, you know, our halyard is on a hydraulic winch, so you can really get a lot of pressure on it. And it's kind of a bad design because it's got this sort of leveraging.
Show what it looked like before.
Angle up to there before. And the force was pulling on this piece like this. And then because, so a bit of bad design plus me not really knowing how to use it properly meant that this broke again. And if you remember back in Maon in Menorca, that happened and we got it repaired and I put it back on, drilled bigger holes and everything and put these in. What we're gonna do, instead of getting this piece repaired again and running the risk of having the same problem, we're just gonna replace it with a regular kicking strap, which should do the job just fine. It just means we gotta be a little bit more careful with the topping lift. And we're gonna make sure that it runs back to the cockpit so that we actually, you know, use it when we should be using it. A triple here.
With some help from our boat neighbours aboard Koru, we tried to rig a kicking strap instead. We then got on with some other jobs as well.
We're just finally getting around to rigging the third reefing line on the mainsail, because we got a third reef put in the main. And luckily we've got the blocks and everything on the boom to make it happen, so we're just running the line. That'd be like a nice little main up there, wouldn't it? So we discovered some mold underneath our bed, so we're replacing the mattresses and putting some slats underneath to raise it to get some air and stuff. Anyway, it's like 10 PM. We're just taking a cab over to the IKEA to go pick it up and take it back, and it's impossible to carry. And of course we went into IKEA and bought a bunch of stuff that we didn't need, so we're struggling to carry this back, and it's a bit of a mission to get things back to the dinghy.
We can do it. The dinghy is there. So close.
It's good effort, actually.
I don't need to put this down.
You're doing great, Alex.
Thanks.
Keep it up.
It's too low down. I feel like a pregnant bug. That was also lame. This is a common problem on boats because often the mattress is placed straight onto plywood, unlike a regular bed frame that has slats and allows the air to circulate beneath it.
So, working against the clock here, trying to get this done before tonight so we can actually sleep on it.
I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, me too.
Looks cool.
There's one here.
Awesome.
And then there'll be one here, one at the front, and one here. And it will just let air circulate everywhere, hopefully.
We got this mattress from IKEA, and we chose this one especially because it supposedly lets way more air in. So you can see it's kind of got this grid feature, which a lot of other foam, they sell a lot of other foam ones, but this is a new version which is supposed to help airflow, so we just went for it, hoping, just really don't want to take any risks. We put two of them, two singles in the end, so that we can cut them to size, and that's what we're about to do now. Woohoo!
So this is the end result. We've got these slats, but they come out in pieces. different frames, and then that gives you access to the lockers below. So we got 1, 2, I think it's like 5 or 6 big pieces, one over each locker. Pretty happy with this. It's worked out pretty well.
It's been a few months now since we installed this, and I'm happy to say it's worked really well and we have 0 mold under the bed now. We celebrated our efforts by going out, and lucky for us, there happened to be a music festival taking place just down the road.
What an actual festival.
So random, right?
I didn't expect to be doing this like an hour ago.
So cool, isn't it?
Makes me feel like me.
So we're in Las Palmas and we are going to go for another surf today. So just picked up our boards and ready to go. Come on, Lars. Come on! Woohoo! When we got back to the anchorage, we were invited to a gathering to witness a life raft being deployed. One of the boats here had an expired life raft, so he invited the whole anchorage over to watch the show. It was a lot of fun to watch and also very useful to see it in action. Hopefully we'll never have to do this for real though.
On fait la tête et pour faire une veille à l'extérieur, on voit aussi qu'il y a des bandes qui font en light.
Ils sont tous cassés ou quoi?
Okay.
Food is it?
Ça dépend de si t'as
Well, we throw the bag overboard. Yeah. Take it.
We also made the most of being in the biggest city in the Canaries to go to the dentist too before leaving Europe for good. Then we got on a bus to head out of the city and go on a hike around an old volcanic crater. So it turns out we took the wrong bus. We didn't look in detail, basically. We thought that it would stop at the same one as where we wanted to start the hike. But it turns out it doesn't, and it's like an hour's walk from where it would stop to the start of the hike. So we are off now. We got off the bus, and we are just gonna go check if we can get another bus to get there.
Rookies.
Yeah, seriously.
What's the 311 or the
301? And people said you could take the 301, but we just didn't really look any further. Turns out you can't.
I think that was a typo.
Anyway, here we are, exploring a new hill village in, I was going to say Mallorca, in Gran Canaria.
You hear my footfalls? It won't stop squeaking.
Unfortunately, the right bus never came, so we took a cab to the trailhead instead. This is the Caldera de Bandama, a sunken volcano crater. The volcano here erupted about 2,000 years ago, leaving behind this enormous hole which is 216 meters deep. The viewpoints are beautiful from here, and you also get a sea view and a view over Las Palmas in the background.
So where are we going, Alex?
Going to the pit, to the bottom of the volcano, to the crater, to the inside the crater.
Yeah, you got there. Nice. Oh man, we had to really hightail it back up the hill to make the bus. I'm dead. Alex is coming up behind me.
Turns out someone got the bus times wrong, so we rushed for nothing and ended up having to wait an hour for the next one. So we had a little snack whilst waiting. Seems like we just couldn't figure out buses that day. On our way back to Las Palmas, we stopped in Vegeta, which is the old town of Las Palmas, and we went for a wander. Vegeta was the original settlement that gave birth to Las Palmas towards the end of the 15th century.
We were just exploring the old town in Las Palmas, and I don't know, had such a good hike, and then you just get off the bus and then cathedral, boom.
I just can't believe the architecture here. I mean, I didn't really have any expectations of Las Palmas before we came. Everyone kind of said it was just a big city. And turns out there's an old town, which is beautiful and still has the old architecture. And it feels like you're walking through like a museum. So this is the house that Christopher Columbus came and stayed in when he was passing through the Canaries on his way over to cross the Atlantic. So they call it the Casa de Colón, but I don't actually know if he lived here. He stayed here?
Check the voiceover.
So after doing a little bit of research, it doesn't sound like Christopher Columbus even stayed here. But he did sail his ships through Gran Canaria on his way out into the big unknown. Anyway, the house still has some lovely architecture. The next day we were off and we were setting sail for our next island, Tenerife. I feel like we always leave at the best time of day, just as the sun is about to go down and all the colours get a little bit more vibrant. It was another overnight passage and we had just enough wind for the spinnaker for most of it. Yeah.
We're heading over to Tenerife. We had the spinnaker up until just now. The wind's been picking up a little bit, so we just went and took it down. Took the head sail out instead, which I think was the right call. We really can't afford to rip that spinnaker. Not only are they expensive, but also our boat really needs it in light air. So took it down, and she's still going along at 5 knots. I was feeling a little bit seasick earlier, now I feel a lot better. Just having a biscuit. I think time to start sleeping, and by that I mean napping for 15-20 minutes at a time. These are so freaking good. So we just made it in. It's about 5 a.m. Pretty smooth. The anchorage is not too rolly. We were a little bit worried. It's hard to tell before you arrive how much swell is going to be coming in, but it's just fine. We just got to hang out here. We've got a spot in the marina tomorrow. We're just gonna hang out here for the evening. I am hungry, which is weird because it's like 5 a.m. So I'm just heating up some food. And then it's time to get back to bed.
We were up pretty early and we made our way towards the marina where we had a spot for the next few days. Or so we thought. So, bad news. We tried to demand a spot in the marina and it didn't work. They are completely fully booked. So yeah, it was a real computer says no moment. So we're back to the drawing board. We've got Lars's parents coming to visit us for the next few days, so we really need a marina. And I can't believe how difficult it is to get a spot. It seems like so many more people are crossing this year. And so the Canaries are just fully booked. Yeah, the struggle is real. Our current plan is to just anchor up outside the marina and hope for the best. Hopefully we don't have any smell. Hopefully we don't have any swell. Okay, so we are now on anchor and Lars has just gone to dive on the anchor to check that we're holding, because I think that it might be a rock bottom here, as what it looked like. It didn't look like sand, so we're just hoping that we can leave the boat here and that we don't end up on the rocks.
There's like patches of sand around rock, but I'm pretty happy with it because, you know, it's like that kind of rock that it's not like loose pebbles and gravel that's going to drag through. There's loads of places for the anchor to kind of dig into and get stuck on, and there's also patches of sand for it to sink into. Right now it's like in some sand just in front of a rock, so I think it's pretty good.
That was good enough for us. We welcomed Lars' parents and we went on a little tour of Tenerife with them. First stop, wine tasting. Winemaking first started in Tenerife in the 15th century, after grapes were introduced to the island by the Spanish. There are several grape varieties that are unique to the island, the most famous being the Malvasia. The vines grow well here with the island's volcanic soil. It gives the wine special character as well. We went for a drive in the hills and realized that the Teide, which is the highest mountain on the island, wasn't clouded as it usually is, so we kept on driving up and up to get a better view of it. We're so glad we continued driving because the views were incredible. We also happened to be there towards the end of the afternoon, so the red rock was turning even more golden. We just made it to the top and it's -1 degree.
We're not prepared at all.
We've got flip-flops on still. Everyone's in like closed shoes and everything. But we just found out that it's closed, so we can't actually take the teleférico cable car up today.
It's probably not a bad thing.
Yeah, I think we'd actually freeze to death if we went the whole way up. We're already at 2,250 meters, or probably 2,300 actually, right?
Yeah, I think so.
At least.
And then the teleferic takes you up another 700 to almost the top.
It's crazy.
It's wild.
The Mount Teide is actually a volcano. It's the highest point in the Canaries and all of Spain, in fact, sitting at 3,715 meters. The Teide is still an active volcano, with the most recent eruption taking place in 1909. Being up here feels a bit like being on another planet. It's so raw and barren, and there really isn't much else up here. It still blows my mind that we drove all the way up here from sea level. It just goes to show how varied Tenerife is in geography, climate, and vegetation. On our way back down, we caught the sun setting over the neighbouring island of La Gomera. You can just about make out its outline here. This could be one of my favourite sunsets yet, and there have been a lot since we've started this journey. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you next time as we explore more of Tenerife and sail to the neighbouring island of La Gomera.